If not, you guys can actually go ahead and ask questions if you guys any questions regarding their programs.
So one of them is in US, another one is in, one of them is in Japan, another one is in the UK, and we also one in Australia. Any of you also looking forward to go to these countries? Can maybe ask them about their life there, their experiences, and their scholars too. So, yeah.
Well, this way, we'll go around, and you guys can get into that and listen a bit more about your program and how you guys got to the program. You can start with Anne.
Okay. Okay now, right? Yeah. Okay, so studying in UK, usually your courses is usually a bit short. Some of the courses are actually like shorter than the other places. So some of it is like just 3 years, such as like certain science courses, or also like maybe law and the others. So if you're studying in like Malaysia, some of them will actually be also 4 years, but here we cut down 1 year. And also, so this might be a good thing for you if you want to like work earlier or something, but usually other than that, it's quite similar. So, I'll just mainly focus on Cambridge, because actually I don't really know that much about some of the other UK universities as well, except for the fact that we tend to apply together using the University and College Admission Service. So for that, you kind of apply online, and then you apply for a few universities at the same time, just using the same form, and then all of them will just kind of send you, either ask you for an interview or maybe just accept you straight away, depending on your results. So at that time, when I was applying from A levels, I have to apply at around August, and then I had an interview for Cambridge in around October. So this is for the intake of the next year. So it means you apply like more than 1 year before you actually enter the university. So you need to have quite a lot. You need to start preparing quite early, depending on the course you're taking. Like for me, I took A levels as an express intake, which means that I entered in March. So I have to start prepare for application in like June or July. That's just like 3 months after I entered my A levels. So usually when you apply for the universities in UK, you have to kind of know what your passions are. So because what they are looking for when you're writing your personal statement and all those, they don't really look for your achievements, but they want to know like some of your hobbies. How do your hobbies and the things that you like, your interests, relate to the subject that you want to apply for. So it's quite important that you start to think about why do you want to do a certain course. Like maybe like for a science course, you have to actually show them why you are interested in it, why are you passionate about it. So other than that, some achievement might be good, but other than you don't really need that much. You just need like your results should be quite okay. Like usually if they are mostly A's for A levels, then they tend to accept you. It's just for like Cambridge and Oxford, you might need like 2 A stars and 1 A in your A levels or equivalent. So I think for application wise, that's about what I need to say. And for interviews, usually it's about 30 minutes, and it's only usually for like Cambridge, Oxford that you need interview, and you can only apply for one of them. And for my interview, they tend to ask questions that like they don't expect you to know how to answer it. They just want to see how you answer it. So sometimes when you're applying for all this, it's like you just need to show them that you are able to learn instead of like showing them how good you are. So it's sometimes a bit counterintuitive in my opinion, because they don't really just look for good students. They want to look for students who can actually like get something from them. So after the interview, if there's no problem, you enter the university, and then it's just like scholarships I got from mine is JPA, so I won't talk that much about it. I'm not sure how it is like nowadays already. It's already like many years since I actually last looked at all these scholarships. Okay, now I'll talk about Cambridge. So Cambridge, your courses tend to be quite generalized. So for engineering, you don't pick a certain kind of engineer. Like you don't pick like just mechanical engineer or something. You actually like slowly specialize after your third year. So in your first 2 years, you actually learn mechanical, you learn electrical, you learn software. So you learn all kinds of things. And this actually is the same for some of the sciences as well. So if you're taking like science, you can actually take like physics and chemistry, or maybe chemistry and biology in like your first year or second year. So this is kind of good that if you are not exactly sure like what you want to specialize in. But for other UK universities, most of them, they tend to want you to know what you want exactly. So like Imperial College London, UCL, all those, they want a specific subject, a specific course. Other things about Cambridge is that another thing that is special is that like instead of tutorial classes, which is like a big class and you have like a teacher to kind of teach you going through some of your examples, exercises, we have a supervision, which is like you have one supervisor and teaching just either like 2 or 3 students. So basically that supervisor can be your lecturer and you'll just be sitting in front of them and just like discussing your homework. So it's kind of like for Cambridge and Oxford, they tend to give you this kind of attention. So you actually learn much better than in other places. So that's what I think is good about Cambridge. In terms of lifestyle, in most UK universities, we have like clubs and societies where like about 200, maybe a few hundreds of them. So that's like just no way you can't find anything that you don't like that you like. So and one of them that all UK universities, almost all of us will have, is the Malaysian Society. So you don't have to worry about like not being able to fit in, even though it's in like a UK university. So like for Malaysian societies, we tend to have like hangouts. We also and sometimes we have like activities like a Malaysian food festival. And also we tend to have a Malaysian night, which is usually a drama or a play in like a certain auditorium. So the Malaysian students will act out a play that is related something that's both related to UK but also related to Malaysia, something like that. As for myself, I didn't join that much activities, so one of them that I did was I actually picked up a language. I'm actually learning like Japanese language right here. The other activities I did is mostly just like casual sports. But Cambridge actually is like famous for some other activities, such as like rowing is one of them, and also some kind of like they tend to have a bit of football and all that, but mostly it's rowing because we have a river and that's it. So, not sure what else I need to talk about, but if there's anything you want to ask me about like UK and like life in my life in Cambridge, I think so just feel free to ask later. So I think I'm not sure if I take up too much time. I'll just have the others continue on.
It's okay. Okay, thank you. So, Chipman, would you like to go next?
Hello. Okay, so I'll mainly be sharing about IB and studying in Japan. Anyone here interested to do IB? No? Yes? Have y'all heard about IB? Yes? Interested to do IB? Not at all?
I'm not sure what is it actually.
You are not sure what it is. Okay, so I'll just do a brief introduction about IB then, and then we can talk about studying in Japan. Alright, so actually IB stands for International Baccalaureate. It's a 2-year program. It's a pre-U program. And there are 3 main core elements that are really unique to IB, I feel, that is very different from other pre-U programs. The first component, it's called the TOK, Theory of Knowledge. The second one, it's CAS, Creativity, Activity, and Service. And the last one, the third one, is an extended essay. So for the first one, the Theory of Knowledge, it's basically a subject whereby students are asked to reflect on the nature of your knowledge and like question yourself, how do we know what we claim to know about things? So basically you question about this particular thing that you have been studying about, whether it's true or not. And after that, the next one is CAS, Creativity, Activity, and Service. It's basically like the COCO that you do in secondary school. But for this one, you are required to do 200 hours of CAS activities within your 2 years of IB program. So for my case, what I did for my CAS, there are 3 main sections. So for different parts, you are required to do different activities. So for the creativity part, I did Model United Nations. I attended their conferences. And I was also a part of Toastmasters Club. I was a member of Toastmasters Club, whereby like we give talks each. It was a weekly event that we write our own scripts and then we go in front to give a talk. That was what I did for creativity. And for activity, I did running for like within the 2 years. And my friends and I actually went for a half marathon at the Penang Bridge Marathon Run after that. And for the community service part, I volunteered in an orphanage. I taught the students there about the STEM subjects. It was under a Lions Club project at that time that I was doing. And after that, also we went to Cambodia. My whole batch of IB friends, we went to Cambodia for around 2 weeks for a community service project. I taught the students English there, basically using through songs and also games. And what we did, we also helped them to build a library actually. So from bricks, like we layer the bricks to build a library. Like we didn't complete the whole project because it was only like a 2-week thing. But I guess we managed to complete at least a wall, like out of the 4 walls of the library. And then we also helped them to build their compost toilets. If it's your first time hearing about compost toilets, you can search about it later on Google. It's quite interesting. They normally use that in Cambodia, so you can check it out. Yes, that was all about it for my CAS. And the last part is extended essay. Extended essay is basically a mini research project. Students have to come out with their own topic that they are interested in a particular subject. So for my case, I was interested in biology, so I did mine in biology subject. And So for this whole project, you are required to do either experiments or do research about it and write a 4,000-word essay as an assignment. So for me, I did an experiment with yogurts. My topic was about how does adding different types of Malaysian local fruits use like guava and also mango into yogurt, and how does it affect the texture and also the nutrient content of the yogurt. So basically, I make my own yogurt using like probiotics and milk, and then after that, I add in different fruits into different yogurts, and then I measure the vitamin C content and also like the protein content in the yogurt and see like which fruit works best. So it's just a mini experiment for students to try things out and write about it. Like there's no right or wrong. At the end of the day, we just write what we got from the project and we submit the assignment up. Yeah, so that's about it. The three main core elements in like IB that is unique compared to the programs. Test and also extended essay. And apart from that, like for IB, we are required to take 6 subjects. Like compared to A levels. A levels normally students take 4. At IB we have 6 subjects. So we have like 6 subject group. But the first one is about language and literature. So I did my IB at Taylor's College Sri Hartamas. At that moment, my school offered English literature, which I took for that component. And for the second part, we are required to do a language acquisition, whereby it's a foreign language. We were offered to do either French or Chinese. Since I knew Chinese already, I took French. It was really at a basic level. So like study what students study in primary school, I guess. That was for language. And the third part, it was about individual and societies. For my school, we were offered either psychology, economics, or business and management. So I chose economics for my part. And the fourth component is the sciences. We have biology, chemistry, and physics. And the fifth part is maths. All students have to take maths. And for the sixth part, it's the arts. So for the arts, we were offered theatre, but then it's an optional one. If you are not interested to do the arts, you can pick 2 science subjects, which is what I did. I took bio and chemistry. And most of my friends did the same as well. They didn't take the art component and they took 2 sciences instead. The reason why students usually take 2 sciences is because if we are interested to do a science program in university, it's better for us to at least have 2 science subjects for us to apply for universities and also for our knowledge as well. Yeah. So those are the 6 subject groups. It might sound a bit overwhelming at this moment, like so much to it. But then, yeah, feel free to contact me if you want to know more about IB. What the questions that I normally get from people is like, how was your experience? Because even people who don't do IB say that IB is tough. Is it true or not? So my honest answer, IB was tough, but it was really an rewarding journey, I feel, because it really prepared me well for university. Like for the skills you learn, it's very applicable to apply to universities. So what I felt was like my transition from SPM to IB was really a big gap. But my transition from IB to university, it was like just a step forward. That was what I felt about IB. It might differ from person to person. Yeah, it really depends. Yeah. Okay, so for the IB part, do you all have any questions? No questions? Okay, so like Taylor's, I know that they are no longer offering IB. So if you're interested in IB, you can search up other schools. And actually, JPA is under the MARA program. They are sponsoring a lot of students to do IB in MARA Banting. However, this is only for Bumiputra, so far that I heard. Yeah. It's a MARA scholarship collaboration with JPA. So they are sending out a lot of scholars to do IB and sending them abroad as well. Okay, next. So shall I talk about studying in Japan? Anyone here interested to study in Japan? No. Oh, what's that? Sorry, Rose. Oh, okay. That's Ryan. Okay, so basically the path that I took was quite different in general. When I did my university application, I applied to the UK, the US, I applied to Canada, I applied to Australia, basically almost everywhere. Because at the moment, I was under KPM bursary and I knew that I will be getting a scholarship to study abroad. So I just applied to everywhere that I can. But I was interested to study in the US actually because of their holistic approach in education. I was really interested in that. So US was my first choice. And yeah, I did my applications and I submitted. I got my offers. So I applied to 5 universities in the UK. I received offers from 4, I think. Yeah. And for the UK, for the US, I applied to like 8 schools. I got offers from 5. And Canada, I applied to 1. I got the offer. For Australia, I applied for 2. I got offer from only 1. That's about it. Okay, so during my first time of application, I did not apply to Japan. It never crossed my mind that I would actually study in Japan. But, so this didn't turn out as it seemed to be. So at the end of January, after I got all my offers, the Malaysian government came out with their budget, their yearly budget, and they decided not to sponsor KPM bursary students anymore to study overseas. That was after we got our offers and we did our application. So it was quite shocking for everyone. So what I did at the moment was I was looking for alternatives because I still wanted to study abroad, and UK and US is actually too expensive for my parents and I didn't want to burden them. So for my alternative, I was looking for a scholarship that could fund me to study abroad. And I came across this program, G30 program in Japan. I was lucky enough because I only found out about it 2 days before the application deadline closes, and I submitted my application I think 1 day before. And yeah, lucky enough I got the offer. So what is this whole thing about? It's a G30 program. It started by the Japanese government. They are trying to attract more international students into Japan. That's why they came out with this G30 program that offers students to study their course of interest in English. So you can actually study whatever course that you're interested in English. And what do I have to say about it? Why am I in Japan? First of all, because it was my last choice if I want to go abroad. And it's and also, one thing about this G30 program in Nagoya University, I found it really interesting is that it's a 4-year course and their curriculum is pretty similar to the US curriculum, whereby during my first year, I have to take liberal art courses and science courses. So liberal art and science courses, for example, it's Japanese. Okay, culture, history, that's under liberal art. Are you okay?
Sorry.
No worries.
Accident.
Don't catch up. Okay. Let me continue, yeah? And also for this G30 program at Nagoya University, for the first year, it's compulsory for me to take Japanese language because since all my courses are in English, I need a bit of Japanese language skills to be able to communicate and use it for my day-to-day life. Yeah. So that was the reason why I ended up in Japan. Oh, why do you turn off the audio? Okay. Okay. A bit intro about studying in Japan. So, oh yeah, scholarship. So when I applied for the program, I applied for the scholarship from the university. However, when the offer came, I didn't get the scholarship from the university. But I was offered a 6-month scholarship during my first 6 months of stay in Japan by the Japanese government. So I still took up the offer because actually the tuition fees to study in Japan universities is actually quite cheap. It's actually similar to the private universities in Malaysia. You can compare the tuition fees to like Monash and also like Nottingham. It's pretty similar for the tuition fees. Just that living expenses wise, Japan will be much more expensive. So for the first 6 months of my studies in Japan, I was funded by the Japan government. And after my scholarship ended after the 6 months, I applied for scholarships from private companies in Japan. And I am currently on a private scholarship by private company scholarship. So one thing that you have to know about scholarships from private companies in Japan is that they have no bond and they don't require you to pay back. So it's basically their charity for international students. That's something that I think a lot of students don't know about it right now. And also, currently, I'm under full tuition. I'm receiving the full tuition exemption fee from my university. That means I don't have to pay for my tuition fee so far. And to take care of my living expenses. In the case of living expenses, I am receiving the scholarship from private companies. So pretty much I'm able to self-sustain myself without funding from my parents. And also I'm currently living in a company dorm right now. You can see like it's not very big. It's also like a partial scholarship, I guess, because my accommodation here in the dorm is like 5 to 6 times cheaper compared to the accommodation of my friends for those who rent their own place out of the dorm. Yeah. And also, so all in all, like studying in Japan is pretty affordable if that is your last choice as well. Or yeah. So it's pretty affordable. And in general, if you're interested to study in Japan, so far, this is the information that I've gathered from Malaysian students so far. There are 3 main ways. The first way is under the JPA scholarship, the JPA scholarship engineering program in Japan. Probably Brian has already shared about it. And the second path was the path that I took to study your course of interest in Japan in English through the G30 program. Okay, so for this G30 program, they have it in a few universities around Japan. At least 13 universities in Japan are offering this G30 scholarship. This G30 program with scholarship. Yeah, for students, for international students. So you can just search out like Global 30 and there will be different universities that will be popping up on the internet. Yeah. Tokyo University has it, Kyoto University has it, Nagoya, and a few other universities. And also the third choice, the third way to study in Japan is to study your course of interest in Japanese language. So what students normally do is they first take 1 year of Japanese language courses. You can either take the course in Malaysia or come to Japan directly to take the language course. Basically, for the whole 1 year, you just learn Japanese to gain your proficiency in Japanese. So there is this place in KL, it's called Pusat Bahasa Teikyo that offers this program. You can check it out if you're interested in. And so after your 1 year of Japanese language course, you will apply to a Japan university to study your course of interest in Japanese. So yeah, this is the third path. I would say that the last part is quite competitive as well because when you apply, you'll be competing with Japanese students who are already really proficient in Japanese language. But it is still possible. Actually, I met most Malaysians that I met who are studying in Japan now. They came to Japan using the third pathway, which I found really interesting and amazing because, wow, people actually study the language and then enroll in a program to study in Japanese. So it is definitely doable if you want to do it. Yep. I think that's all from me right now. Do y'all have any questions about studying in Japan? I can't see any one of you actually.
Yeah, still pretty shy.
So I think the goal of it is that you going to share your
Can I hear?
I can't really hear, sorry. I can't see, like,
you're saying that maybe we can give Q&A in the questions. See how
I can't hear, sorry.
Can't hear.
Maybe we can move on to Ying-Hui's experience first,
Okay.
and then leave Q&A for later.
Sure.
Okay, hello everybody. Can't see anyone. Okay. I don't know what you guys want to know. Like, I feel like you guys maybe want to know more about pre-U since you guys just get your results, right? Like,
Ying-Hui,
next step.
can you speak louder?
Okay, I'll try. Hello. Okay. Can is it loud enough? Is it loud enough?
Should be.
Okay. Just like keep telling me if I'm like not loud enough. Yeah, cause I'm like outdoor. Also like, okay, I just turned on a video. I don't know who I'm speaking to right now. Like, you guys just like can stop me or ask me any questions, like if you guys want. Don't be shy, guys. All good. Okay. Alright, fine. Okay. Just share. What I did after SPM is I got my results and then I started applying for scholarships. I applied for almost every scholarship that I can find online. You can go to websites like After-School or like, yeah, websites. Also in BGBL website, we have like a list where you can go and find for the scholarships to apply. Are you guys like already like filling up the forms and everything?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's good. So what I did was like I just want to go study overseas. Like I just spam the scholarship applications and like see what I got, and I just went for interviews and yeah. So do you guys want to know more about pre-U pathway options or like scholarships in general? Like you want to know like pre-U or like scholarships?
I think more pre-U than the same for that right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. But
Oh,
I think
do you want to know about scholarships or pre-U?
I was saying I think it would be more helpful if you share about pre-U.
Okay. So I did so there's a few pre-U options. There's matrix, there's from SABS. There's like foundation for like under the uni itself, and also like all the year 12 programs. UK one is like not UK one, but like there's pre-U, there's like A levels, SAM, OSMAT, MUFI and stuff. So I did SAM in Taylor's College last time. So SAM, now the name is like South Australian Certificate of Education. It's like SACE, and it's like 70% coursework and 30% assignment compared to A levels. A levels is something more like exam based and more academic, but SAM involves a lot of report writing, research, do a lot of assignments which you don't really do in SPM. If you can't imagine what A levels and what all this is, so I feel A levels is something more similar to SPM. Like you just study, and then you exam, right? So like one time you fail that one time, then very hard already. But SAM is more like it's like ongoing coursework. So every week or like every 2 weeks you have submissions, and the submissions like 10%, 20%. Like it's all accumulated at the end. So it's like 70% coursework, 30% final exam. So like you can't select. You just need to like work hard for every assignment you have if you want to get good results. And yeah, you can't last minute study. And for STEM, I feel like it's really good because it's what uni looks like. Because uni is not like just studying. I mean, for Australian unis and like, yeah, I don't know about other unis, but for Australian unis, it's a lot of coursework based and a lot of skills based, not so much about studying, like going for exam, unless you do subjects like medicine and law, then it's different. So if you're interested in medicine and law, I wouldn't recommend you guys to study STEM or like OSMED or anything. If you're interested in medicine, I would just recommend you just do either matrix or to do, yeah, matrix would be easier if you got in, or maybe like the foundation for the uni locally, and maybe from 6, because or A levels, if you want to go overseas, like you can afford the expensive medicine, like the fees overseas. But because I feel like if you want to study medicine, it's a bit of like waste of like resources if you go and study overseas, because if you're planning to come back anyway and work as doctor, you still need to like go for housemanship in Malaysia and everything. So also like the cost studying overseas for medicine is very expensive. So if you want to study medicine, I would recommend you just go study in like local unis, which is really good for medicine, or maybe some private unis in Malaysia as well. Then when you graduate, you can go for housemanship, and then like the medicine pathway will be like easier and straightforward instead of like wasting a lot of money to study overseas if you're planning to work as a doctor in Malaysia. But for law, if you're interested in things like law, I would recommend you do PU. Like if you want to go overseas, I'm talking about like if you want to go overseas, I would recommend you to do PU like A levels, because it's more like for law, like studying A levels will be more suitable because it's more of like studying and then like exam based, not so much about doing stuff like engineering or like arts or like architecture or anything. So like if you're interested in like accounting, engineering, and you want to learn something, if you want like maybe doing assignments, reports, research, labs and everything, like it's a very different experience with SPM. You can do pre-use like STEM or OSMED. So the difference between STEM and OSMED is it's not the same. Like everyone think it's the same, but it's not the same. So like STEM is like 70% coursework, but OSMED is only 50% coursework and 50% exam. So OSMED system is, because I had a good friend who did OSMED. So like OSMED system is, I think Sunway has OSMED and SABS has South Australian Matriculation, which is the SAM. So OSMED system is also more of like tests and exams, not so much about report writing or like research or like topic research. Like what Ishiman said about IB, they have like they can choose a topic and then they will like research about it and like just write, do experiment, and just write like 10,000 words or 5,000 words of research about it. But OSMED is more like tests, like the 50% coursework is more like tests, like internal class tests, not so much about lab or reports or assignments. So in terms of like the coursework for STEM and OSMED, so the OSMED is more class tests, a lot of class tests. STEM has a lot of class tests as well, but also a lot of report and then lab and research experiments maybe for art stream. So like for science stream or art stream, you have like they will recommend you a subject to take so that it's easier for you to be accepted for uni later. So I did OSMED for 1.5 years in Xavier College. Then after that, I came here to Sydney to study, doing software engineering now. And I would really think that like STEM is not easy, it sounds easy, but like it really, yeah, it's really tough in terms of the coursework. But I really enjoy college life because I have friends and everything, like everything's so accessible. Like I was living in Subang area is like all the good food and everything. But it really prepares me for uni. But when I come to uni, also it's like things are different also. So like it's the same, but different challenges, I guess. But the SAM did prepare me well because it taught me how to cope with all the workload and how to manage my time well. Yeah. So I'm talking about like private PUs. And for government academic students, I have a lot of friends who went to matrics and they got into UM very easily, like for their courses like law, for their engineering, for just engineering, everything. And some didn't even get 4.0, but they still got accepted into UM to study engineering, which is pretty good. So if you are thinking of a backup plan, if you don't get any overseas scholarship, I think you can, if you want to study in private uni, you can go for their foundation, like maybe like Monash Uni or Summer Uni or anything. But if you are looking to study in public unis, they are pretty good, like UM or SPM, everything. You can go to the matrix pathway. Like if you didn't get matrix, then you can do Form 6. Because apparently Form 6, it's really, the content-wise, it's really hard. Like I have a very close friend who did. But when you go to uni first year, you feel like you just don't do anything, you just sit there because you already learned everything in Form 6. You get what I mean? Like your first year will be very easy in uni if you study at Form 6. Because Form 6 content-wise is really hard and like quite compact. So it's really helpful for uni as well. So I wouldn't say which is bad, which is good. It also depends on what courses you want to take. Yeah, if you don't know what you want to study yet, like you guys know what you want to study after SPM. Personally, I don't know what I want to study yet. I just go and apply and see what I get. Thankfully, I got what I want, I think. Yeah. So it's normal to not know what you want to study. Like it's okay. Like yeah, you don't need to get sorted yet. You're still young. Like life has like a lot of years to go. But yeah, it's okay. But when you apply for scholarship, wait. Let me ask first. You guys still have any questions for me?
No.
Like other PU pathways or like yeah. So when okay, never mind, go to the scholarships right now. So when I apply for scholarship, you need to write what courses you want to take, right? Like you think carefully also, like don't write something you don't know what it is, but you just want to write. And then when you go for interview and then you got the scholarship and you're like, oh no, so what I'm gonna study now? Like you need to like think carefully when you write, and then some applications require you to write what country you want to go. So also like think carefully. Like I ended up in Australia because I just simply write what uni I want to go, and it ended up giving me the country that is like so you just think carefully when you want to fill in stuff like this. Like I didn't know it would make a huge difference, but it did. I mean I didn't regret that, but if I wrote like University of Canada that time, I might be in Canada already, but never mind, like Australia's pretty good as well. When interviews, normally scholarships after you apply and submit, right? You don't need to like worry about I didn't get 4A+, they won't take me whatever. Like you don't need to get 4A+, okay? Just need to like be decent, like can have B's, can have C's, then just apply. Just need to like meet their requirements. Maybe they want like 9 A's, 8 A's or 7 A's. Just like apply. I have friends who got scholarship but they like there's also a few B's in their results. So it doesn't really matter like your results right now. This stage like results doesn't matter. If you meet the requirement, just apply. And then when you apply, if they want to go for interviews or go for online assessments, most scholarships go for online assessments first or interview. It depends on which scholarship. So I went for like about 5 to 6 interviews, and I got eventually offered 4, not 4, but like I'm in bursary. One is the bursary one, and one I was also offered the UEM engineering to study overseas, and then and then afterwards I was also offered the JPA engineering what they look for is people who are like genuine, like people who are not
louder.
people who are not arrogant, confident in themselves. So I think you don't need to feel like you're not good enough or anything for this, but you just, when you go for interviews, you'll meet a lot of different kind of people, like people who are from KL, from Penang, who has already been preparing for interviews since Form 4. Like they already, like, you know, already think of their like life already, like I will go this uni. But like it's okay, like, cause like, I mean, we're not kampong lah, but in a way for them we are like kampong, but it's okay. It's okay. Like you can see the difference between East Coast and like West Coast students when you go for interviews. And I would recommend, like, what you do is like to make friends when you go for like things like this. Just like talk to them, like learn from them or anything. Cause most of the time you'll see the same people at the different interview. So if you get a chance to go for interview, maybe you can like ask, like just talk to them. Like maybe you can learn something from them. You don't matter so much about the outcome. Like if the scholarship yours is yours, yeah. Don't be too nervous about it. And during the interviews also, don't sound like you're boasting about your achievements, but more like sharing with them what I did. Not like, oh, I'm the cadet leader of DDDs. And I'm also the pharmacy of DDDs. And then you're like, okay, full stop. Then like, those like, everyone is like that, you know, everyone is like super good. Like, what makes you different? Share more about your soft skills, share more about your, what inspires you, or like, okay, for example, if you like reading, right, don't just say, oh, don't just like, I want to sound like really pro, so I say, oh, my hobby is reading, so I read a lot of literature books. And the interviewer will ask you like books that are like literature related, and then you can't answer, they'll be like, oh, this guy is like faking. So you should be like really genuine. Like if you like sport, just say you like sport and what you do, and like you must have a special point for yourself. What makes you so special that they want to choose you? Like, don't say that I very smart, I get full A plus lah, but like say something like different, because everyone also very smart. Something different. So like when you're free, maybe later or like any day, think of something that makes you different. And also think why you want to study overseas, like think clearly. Is it you want to just study overseas because of the glamour? Or do you want to study overseas because you want to challenge yourself? Or do you want to study overseas because it just sounds cool? Like, you need to think thoroughly, like why in the beginning I want to do this. Maybe it's like pushing myself out of my boundaries, like learning a new language or anything. Yeah. So what really helps me for my scholarship is I've been to an exchange last time for AFS. So I'm sharing, like during the interview, I share with them how I overcome challenges like language barrier, loneliness, not being able to talk to people, but instead learning everything by myself, like independence and everything. Like things like, because it's very hard for them to know who you are in just one interview. So when you say, when they ask you to describe yourself, you need to like, besides the physical stuff, talk more about like, what kind of person are you? Are you like an independent person, hardworking person, or whatever person? So I mean, you can give them a good list of your characteristics, but like, you should elaborate more on that. So what I did was like, so there's this time they asked me about my strengths and everything, and I was saying, I'm a very independent person, very strong person, I guess. And then they will ask you, oh, like what makes you independent? Like how independent are you? Like everyone says the same thing. Like how am I gonna know like she's faking or like she's really independent? So you need to like really possess the skill before you actually say you are that kind of person. So I gave them like examples of how independent I am. So I actually like went for scholarship interviews myself, travel all the way from Pahang to Perak myself, to KL myself. And then I stayed in KL 2 days the whole week, just for interviews and everything by myself. So like that proves that I'm independent, right? So like, they need something to actually prove their point. And I guess it's also more of like a sharing story session with them. So you don't want to make it more like just sit there like, like you don't want to answer the question, very scared So you just make it more like sounds like more of a like conversation. And at the end of the interview, they'll normally ask, do you have any questions? So I would recommend you to prepare really good questions to ask. I mean, I don't know what define as a good question, but maybe something like maybe about their job, or like what's your career aspirations, or like how's life working in this company or anything. So like you need to prepare good questions to ask, and also don't ask questions that you can already find the answers online already. Like it's so obvious the answer is already like in the application form or anything. Like yeah, just make sure you leave them a good impression, confident, and yeah. I mean, a lot of people will be like super like outstanding in the interview, but I guess they're not looking for people who talks a lot, but people who are confident in themselves who are confident in themselves but willing to learn and humble and not like super proud or like super or like to boast about their stuff. Like yeah, you can like see a lot of like debaters or like KL like top student there, like just be you, okay? Like you don't need to be them, you just be you. Like I mean, if you are introvert, it's okay to not be the leader of the group or not be the person who talks the most. But I guess in a way that you can caught people's attraction is when it's the time for you to speak with volume. Like what thoughts you shared must be a very meaningful and must be a very constructive idea, so that they actually know that you, even though you don't talk a lot, but what you say is like very contains volume, like not because it's a very long explanation, but it's like short, concise, and perfect, that kind of thing. So I mean I can like go on for this like for hours, but yeah, just relax and enjoy yourself lah for interview. If you don't get any scholarships, I hope you guys had like a backup plan. Like, what if I don't get scholarship after all my interview? Then I can like go for this. You need to plan first, plan ahead. Like, yeah, just in case anything happens. And yeah.
If you don't get any scholarships, come to Japan.
Yeah.
Japan government.
Not happy with the statement.
Yeah, Japan's good. Yeah, I wish I know like Japan has scholarships, but yeah. Yeah, you guys have any questions?
Yeah, so now I think we can open it to like any questions for all the three different CUs.
Yeah.
You can direct it to any one of them if you're interested in them, or you can just ask general questions which all of them can answer. Oh, you can buy you please.
What course of interest are you guys having right now? Like what do you want to study? Do you guys have any idea or not yet?
I want to ask Kai about like house gardens and rich family.
I don't know, but I think you guys like uni for you guys is still far, right? Like I don't know if you guys want to know about uni yet, because now it's more like very PU, right? But if you guys want to know about uni, I mean, feel free to ask.
Any questions about A levels for Thai?
Yeah, actually A levels. How many of you you want to take A levels? I think it's usually quite a popular choice.
Yeah, I want to take A levels. No, go for SABS. No, just kidding.
I want to take A levels. Who's looking? Yeah. Ishan wants to take A levels. She wants to know more about A levels.
Yeah, A level. I'm not sure how much they explain to you all about already, but A levels tends to be quite exam oriented lah. Everything is about your exams. So if your SPM okay and you are willing to work a bit harder, I think it's kind of you should be able to like do well, because it's like just studying most of the time. It's not really like you don't really have coursework.
Yeah.
So and also you focus on just a few subjects. So you only take usually 3 to 4 subjects in A levels, except for when you're in Singapore, some of them take 5, but no, in Malaysia usually you don't. So maybe let's say the usual life in A levels is 1 week we have about for my course is an express intake, so I have 28 hours of lectures, of classes. So it's like for 4 subjects, it's like 1 subject 7 hours a week. So if you compare with your SPM level, maybe like PM 6 periods like 4 hours. So basically everything is like almost double it. And then you just focus on the few subjects you choose. So you kind of like want to choose like subjects that's really related to what you want to take next time. Most of us, like for science students and even art students, we usually will take mathematics, and then maybe like for sciences we will usually take chemistry, and one more would be physics or bio, will depend, or maybe you can actually take all 3 sciences, like, and just go into like a full science. So those who take all 3 sciences would usually be those that kind of know they want to go into science, but they don't actually know like they want to go either medic or maybe like engineering, or so it's like it can kind of keep your choice quite open as well when you're taking A levels, because their subjects are actually also quite open. So
Okay to take science subjects during A levels, and decide that I want to do a quants major in it.
what? Sorry.
Is it okay for me to like take up science subjects during A levels? To do science?
Sorry, it's not very clear. It's not.
Do you mean like take science subjects and like study like arts?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people do that actually.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I'm quite sure I have friends who kind of went and take law after that, like totally unrelated. Or sometimes maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. Economics, maybe not. Maybe it's better to take one of the economics, the economics module. But some, yeah, they actually allow you to, most of the time, allow you to kind of take art subjects. But if you are taking art subject for your A levels and you want to take science, it's less likely. So A levels usually like they prioritize science subjects more, even in like most of the colleges in Malaysia. So it's like, yeah. So anything else about like more of this A level stuff, or maybe are like others?
You have something to say. Like if you still don't know what you want to do, you don't have to follow what everybody do. Like find what you're interested in or continue to search what you're interested in. Because for now what you're learning is so limited that you don't really know what you learn, like what is it related to. Yeah, don't stop your dreams. If you want to be a pilot, just continue searching for it. Like, you don't have to listen to your parents who say, oh, be a doctor and then be a lawyer. Because I feel that Malaysians, we normally tend to go for the normal ones like doctor, lawyers, accountancy. Yeah. If you're really interested in it, go for it. Or else, look for something that interests you.
Actually, here I have a real life experience. So one of my friends in A level actually is not suitable for science at all, but her parents actually want her to take engineering. So it's like she took subjects the same as mine: physics, chemistry, maths, and even economics. But her results for her A levels is usually like, even in studies she couldn't keep up, and actually even her SPM like mathematics and all that, she's actually not good at it. So when she comes to A levels, she just kind of keep failing, almost fail. I tried to help her like kind of teach her like almost every day, like after like the lectures and all that. But then she still could like at most get like C or D. So in the end, she told her parents, and the parents come, and then the teachers had to tell her parents that she's really not suited for it, and then only she ended up changing to another course and took up law or something. So yeah, you shouldn't be like, just because your parents try to force you into something, you shouldn't just follow. You actually have to like think to tell yourself, is it really something that you can do or something you really want to do? Yeah, that's about it.
Another question: are there any advices for like, because they are transitioning from high school to pre-U, so anything to expect? What would the differences be?
You are more independent.
Enjoy
You need
life
to
first
study
before
yourself.
you go
But yeah.
Make friends. You need people around you to support you. And enjoy your process.
Yeah.
What else?
Usually when you go overseas and study, it's kind of different from the Malaysian education where they set up a path where you have to study, the system will force you to study. But in overseas, if you don't study, it doesn't matter. So if you're not independent, right, you just slack off. So I think independence is like a pretty big deal. And then like making friends and cultural shock and stuff like that, you have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, they are the people who don't care whether you fail or pass.
Yeah.
It's just that when you fail, they might just expel you.
Yeah.
Any questions about like scholarships, like what Petronas scholarship asks, like what are questions they ask, or like what Bank Negara scholarship looks like, or anything?
I cannot ask.
Like,
Anything? No. Alright, so I guess we'll wrap up the hangout session today.
So let's give a round of applause to our volunteers.
Thank you so much for joining us and our students today.
All the best.
bye.
Yeah. Bye. Do your best. Don't stress too much.
All right, thanks guys. Bye.